All right, finally, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to episode number, actually, I think this is episode 8 of the TeamSam podcast down here at TeamSam Personal Training, located in Fenton Plaza, right across the street from where Globo Gym used to be. As always, I'm joined by my colleague, Jordan, and today's episode is going to be a little short one. It's going to be a little short one because, well, you guys, you heard we decided to open up last week. All right. So Monday was our first day back on our regular schedule where all of our classes, everything was back to normal. Unfortunately, we have a Friday night boot camp. So that means that our normal 6 o'clock podcast had to get pushed back. We're trying to start around 7:30, but if we're doing this after a class, there's always going to be people signing up, which is exactly what happened today. I had 2 people sign up, and so that took a little while. So it's 8 o'clock. We're starting late. We're probably not going to go as long with this one. We're going to try to keep this one short. But Michael Cramp Jr., I saw you sign up for the challenge again, dude, and you kicked lots of ass on that last one. And Alyssa, you kicked lots of ass too. Katie Grogan, you fucking won. You were one of the winners. So can't wait to see how you do on this one.
Katie Grogan, going down. You're going down.
So today's podcast topic is all about perseverance. So for all of you that did the 8-week challenge or that have done an 8-week challenge before, you understand how much perseverance that it takes to go through something like that. But somebody else who knows a thing or two about perseverance is Mr. Jordan right over here. Jordan, usually I'll try to do something goofy at this time, but for once I'm not going to because Jordan has a big task, a big adventure in front of him where he's going to really test his ability for perseverance, if you'd like to tell everybody about it.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this today, and it was about 6 months ago, maybe more, that I said, hey, I want to tell you about my latest harebrained scheme.
Right.
I have a lot of harebrained schemes. Some become reality and some don't. But I remember telling you, hey, I wanted to tell you about my latest harebrained scheme, and you kind of had a response like, all right, here we go. This is gonna be something that's either gonna be interesting, and then I'm never gonna hear about it again, or it's gonna become a major problem in my life. And I said, dude, I think I want to walk across the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do that at the time, but I figured it out. And so I've got a backpack full of gear. It's got a tent. It weighs about 40 pounds. And I'm going to walk about 250 miles west to east across Missouri and end here home near St. Louis, actually close to St. Charles. And at least that's the plan. So we'll see if my harebrained scheme is successful.
So imagine that, 250 miles. So he's walking from one end of the state to the next. Now, any of you that have been on a treadmill or that have walked just for like 10, 20, 30 minutes before, you know how ridiculous that can get, and you have to play little mental games. So while preparing for this crazy 250-mile, 11-day hike, what are some techniques that you have learned mentally that you have to help with persevering whenever your hikes get rough? Because 11 days, there's a lot of things that could come up during this 11 days. Yeah. You guys got to figure he's going to be outside where it could rain, where he could get struck by lightning. It could be really fucking hot some days.
Snakes.
And I know you practice every day going out on hikes. So what are some of the mental techniques that you've developed to help you persevere when things get tough?
Well, that's a great question. I think it has 2 answers, and one is kind of a deep layer answer, and one is more of a like in the moment surface. Right. So the deep layer answer, there's a philosopher named Nietzsche. I don't remember if I've talked about him on this show before, but he has a famous quote that goes something along the lines of, "He who knows his why can bear any how."
That's a great quote.
So it's, why am I doing this? Well, for me, it was to reclaim my life back and get my health. I had to have some crazy goal to shoot for.
Right.
And I actually already got the benefits, which is the sad part. And now I'm paying the bill, because it was fun to fantasize about doing this big, kind of athletic or at least torturous experience. It was fun to be able to say, I'm the guy who can do that. Now, rewind 6 months ago, I'm not the guy who should even be thinking about doing that.
Right.
But because I had that why, I'm like, all right, what are the pieces? Well, first I got to stop smoking, and then I've got to lose this amount of weight. And it turns out that I was able to do all these little things that were leading up to it, and now my why has become a how. Now I've got to go out there and pay it in reality. Which brings me to the second thing. So paying it in reality is much different, because your why can get you there.
Right.
But there, like I went out to test myself one day to hike with a full pack and hike a long way, and I got to tell you, it hurt sometimes.
Right.
Like my legs hurt, my feet hurt. And here's a simple trick. This has nothing to do with my mind or my will or anything like that. I actually have a soundtrack. I have a soundtrack for my headphones. And when the going gets tough, I've got this like inspirational music. I've got this track that's almost like a drill instructor yelling in my head, like, oh, if you give up, don't give up, don't give up. And that's just I think of it like taking a pill, but it's a digital pill. You just hit it and you're like, oh, you get a burst of adrenaline for a little bit. So there's the deep philosophy advice, and then there's the more practical, well, what can I actually use as an in the moment thing?
It's a signal. It's like a trigger.
So
you get, everybody has a song or a few songs that they think motivate them in life. Like people have a song that they think fits what they're going through at the time, or you've got that go-to music that gets you pumped up, that song. So like one of them that's for mine that's always been like my pump up song, like no matter what frame of mind that I'm in, no matter how it is that I'm feeling, if I need to just automatically reach down deep and like pull out this crazy amount of motivation, it's Metallica, Master of Puppets. All the years that I wrestled and fought and did all that, Master of Puppets was my entrance music. That's the song that played as I came out to the ring. So it's like, it's so ingrained in my head that if I just hear the first couple notes of that song, it doesn't matter what mood that I'm in, boom, it automatically goes like, all right, it's go time. Let's get into this. And I do what you see, like, so whenever I'm out running, I've got a whole playlist. It's like 10 songs and it's in a specific order, because I know where I'm at in the run for which song I want to be at. So some of them are there to kind of get me through the coasting part where it's long. And then as I'm starting to get towards the end, closer to the finish line, that last like 5 or 10 minutes where things are tired, I've got a specific song that comes on that's like, okay, let's go, and it gets you fired right back up. So a soundtrack definitely helps. But one thing that you said that I think is paramount, I think that it is paramount for perseverance, for motivation, whatever, is that you said you have to find your purpose.
Yeah,
it's huge.
I couldn't quit smoking until I had a goal worth quitting smoking for.
Right.
It was like you have that little rational part of your brain, or the intelligent part of your brain that knows, oh yes, this is bad for me, this leads to emphysema and lung cancer, and it makes me feel like crap and blah blah. Doesn't matter, because the emotional part of your brain, the hind brain, is way more powerful. But if you can set up a position in your life where it's like, oh, I really want whatever it is.
Right.
If you really want it, you'll feel it emotionally. And I'm like a quest kind of guy. I like going out and doing something that's like, oh, the unknown, travel and everything. And so I was able to wrap my emotions around this idea, and that idea had embedded in it the obligation to quit smoking.
Right.
I couldn't even be in the position to try this if my lungs were still bombarded by smoking. So now I'm almost 7 months smoke free, and the idea, the emotional, romantic idea, has served its purpose.
Right. And that gave you purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose is important. We could go way macro on this and say everybody needs their purpose in life, and your purpose in life is whatever you feel that is.
But I think you're on the eve of the 8-week challenge, and you bring that up. Some people think, oh, they have this vague sense that they should lose weight and become healthy, but they don't have something specific.
That's it. So whenever you think about what it is that's driving you fitness wise, I know I'm not gonna bullshit around with people. I get it that almost none of you are driven by having stronger lungs or a stronger heart. In Jordan's case, that's what he needed to stop smoking for, was it was going to help him physically. And that's what all of these things that he's done leads towards him having better lung capacity and overall better health. But the fact is, almost 95% of the people that join like the challenges or training or joining a gym, just it's cosmetic driven. They want to look a certain way. But if you start to peel back the surface a little bit, if you start to go, okay, why does Shayla think that she needs to build a booty? Or why does Kyle think that he needs to tone up his muscles? Or build a booty, Kyle. Why does Kyle want to punch a hole in drywall?
Well, and the thing that's funny that you should book in this is death is too far off. Death is not a reason.
Yes.
Because all those years that I was smoking cigarettes, I knew that they would kill me. But it's too far off. So it's not, it doesn't have that grip. Now, setting a goal for, hey, in May, on May 23rd, I'm going to go do this thing.
Right.
Way more real than death. Isn't that weird?
Yep. But it ultimately drives that purpose. So I think even if your training goals are completely aesthetic, they're completely cosmetic, you want to change the way your body looks, you want to change the way your body's shaped, lose weight, gain muscle, whatever, there's still an ultimate purpose behind that. Okay, there is some reason that you think by losing weight or by leaning out or seeing muscle definition or seeing that booty grow, there is something in your mind that has connected you to believe that that's going to make you feel better overall. And that's really when you start to find that purpose. Go, what is it? Why is it that you think that by building an ass or by changing your body that you're going to feel better? And that's where you start to find out. You start to unwind some things in your brain. And what I've found is usually what this gets connected to is that somebody at some point in their past, they got made fun of. Someone told them they needed to do this. Or maybe they were on Facebook and they got tagged to a photo and it wasn't their best angle. And they said, holy shit, I can't believe I got a double chin or I looked horrible from that angle. Whatever it is, there is something in their past that stung and made them go, okay, this is why I feel like I need to change myself physically. I will feel better so that the next time I'm tagged to a photo, I look the way I think I should. Or the next time that I put on a certain pair of pants, it's gonna feel different. I'm not gonna have that muffin top. That's where you start to find the purpose to your training. So even if it's completely cosmetic driven, I can guarantee you that somewhere down the road on that, it's psychological because you believe you are going to feel better and more confident and more secure by attaining whatever physical goal that is.
Do you know about the magic of 3 whys?
No.
All right,
Tell me.
So the magic of 3 whys is when there's something that you're finding yourself motivated by, you ask why. Well, why?
Right.
You know, why do I want to sign up for TeamSam? Well, I want to have a nice ass. And then you ask the second why. Well, why do you want to have a nice ass?
Right.
And suddenly people are like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, nobody ever. Well, I want to find a good guy. Why? And then you ask a third why.
Right.
Why do you want to find a good guy? Because I want somebody who's going to take care of my kids.
Right.
And then you're
Start
like,
finding that
now
team.
wait a minute. That's powerful. That's powerful. Right. Knowing that you don't want to settle for some chump, you want to have your choice in the market. That is much different than wanting to have a nice ass. You see what I mean?
Well, Nicole Cook says hi. Rebecca says she's ready to win. So Rebecca's purpose is because she wants to get into shape, but she wants to win that money because she's got a competitive drive. So for her, winning and proving that she can be the best, that's her purpose.
Good.
But like you were saying, you start off, somebody says, I want to build a nicer ass. And then you find out the reason they want to build that nicer ass is they're trying to attract some type of companion or partner. The cool thing is, and this is something we do here. I can't speak for other gyms, but it's something Michelle and I are big on is we try to pick that up. We try to recognize what is that why. Everybody wants to look better, but we start to find out why do they want to look better. And part of building their confidence is to say, you don't have to do this shit for somebody else. It's not about looking better so that some fucking guy can and I think honestly most women aren't trained. They don't give a fuck what guys think of them.
Right,
they're training to look better for other women. I know that because they want to walk in and make somebody else feel insecure.
I want to be able to steal her man.
Exactly.
I want to steal her man.
It's not even that. It's not even. It has nothing to do with men. What they do is they want to walk
Yes,
in wearing a certain dress or some leggings and know that their ass looks nicer than Susie's.
They want that status bump of the heads turning.
It is. And I love that. I love that. But I think once we get people in and we start learning what is it that's driving them to want to improve themselves cosmetically and physically, that's where you really start to have fun with it, because you start to change some of their perceptions on what we do this for. Ultimately, at the end of the day, though, it's about making yourself feel better. That's what it is. But perseverance, when you know your purpose for doing something and when you know your purpose as a person, it is so much easier to constantly remind yourself of that. To me, perseverance comes down to resilience and determination.
Well, like, can we dispense with these Latin polysyllabic words? Notice how I used a Latin polysyllabic word to say that? Determination. Dude, it sucks. Getting in shape.
Yeah. Yes.
Quitting smoking sucks. Getting in shape sucks. So I think ultimately when we're talking about perseverance, we're talking about you have this lofty dream, and then reality is going to put this painful moment. How do you get through that painful moment and bump back up?
Right. You have to learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's really what perseverance comes down to, is you got to tell yourself, look, I'm not expecting this to be easy. It's not going to be easy. In fact, I don't want it to be easy. That is how you're going to get stronger mentally. But that's what perseverance is going, okay.
That's such a
Once you get over that initial honeymoon phase and that excitement phase of like, I'm going to start an 8-week challenge. I'm going to start a workout program. I'm going to start eating better. That feels so good whenever you make that decision. But then once you start to do it and you start realizing, oh man, chicken breast and broccoli is kind of dry. Eating healthy all the time is kind of boring. The workouts, they start to get very tiring. You start to get sore. You get to where it's really tough.
It's not funny.
You have to go into this.
It's not fun.
You have to go into this realizing it's going to be hard, and that's okay. That you want it to be hard, because if it's easy, it's doing nothing for you. But perseverance comes down to that, is going, okay, I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's hot. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if I feel like shit. I'm still going to get it done. That ultimately is what perseverance is. But it's all about your mindset. If your mindset is, I want the easiest way possible with the least amount of discomfort, fucking don't even sign up for anything that we do, because changing your body out of anything is going to require you to go through hardship. But perseverance is all about saying, whatever it is, I've got my shield on my back. So whatever gets thrown at me, whether it's rocks, arrows, bullets, it doesn't matter. I'm going to let that shit bounce off me. I'll take it and I'll keep moving forward. That's a very extreme analogy for it, but it's true. Perseverance is being able to weather that storm.
It's not an extreme analogy, though. If you think about it, the reason you don't want rocks thrown at you is it will hurt.
Right.
Now, sometimes when you're endeavoring on a journey to change your physical being, like you were saying to somebody earlier, you have to break yourself down. You are literally trying to hurt yourself.
Yes,
have you ever tried to give yourself like a shot? If somebody has ever been in that position to have an actual needle, it's really hard. It's easy to sit there and let somebody do it to you, but it's really hard to hurt yourself.
I've talked about that. I cannot. So through wrestling and fighting and stuff, like I've been split open. I've got so many cuts. I've bled all over the place. I can bleed from my nose. I can give IVs to others, but on myself, nope, ain't gonna happen. I'll pass out.
Because it's really hard to hurt yourself. But if you think about it, everybody tries to make working out seem glamorous. No, actually, it's like you're going to a dungeon, and you're about to be tortured, and guess who's torturing you? You.
Yep, yourself. That's right. It's how much you are willing to push yourself and how much you're willing to persevere on the diet and the training. But that's the person that's going to have the best results, is that one that's willing to take themselves through that fire. But it goes beyond physical. It goes way beyond fitness.
Oh, it's meant.
How many of you are here on Facebook, and before you watch this video and after you watch this video, go do it. Scroll through your feed and you're going to notice a lot of fucking mentally weak people that can't take any amount of stress at all. The littlest bit of stress and they freak out and they're crying and they want attention and they want people to jump on and tell them they're sorry for them. When you can learn how to take more stress, when you can learn, hey, I can take all of this shit and I can dish it right back out, you will become mentally stronger. And then you will find out that things that bothered you before are nothing.
I'll never forget this motherfucker on my son's football team that we had a get together, and kind of like the parents were talking over in this group, and I was just chilling. I was just sitting on a picnic bench chilling, and he came over and he goes, "Don't you want to come talk to us?" And I was like, I mean, I don't mind, but I'm good. And he goes, "Won't you be bored?" And I said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm being bored." But it showed that a lot of people out there, they put in an equation, bored equals pain. Yeah. And they're like, I don't want to hurt. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
I know we're kind of limited tonight. Do you mind if I introduce an idea?
Go for it.
All right. This is total LeVar Burton Reading Rainbow shit. So
I wish we could cue the theme.
So don't try to make it sound nerdy. It's not nerdy. I'm just going to show you a book.
Butterfly in the sky. Here it comes.
Everybody knows you didn't go out and check out the LeVar Burton books, but you liked him talking about them. So there's this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Sorry, it's away now. There's no book cover. So Thinking Fast and Slow, this guy won the Nobel Prize for writing this book, him and Amos Tversky. But basically what they came up with, one of the ideas they came up with was there are two separate selves. There are two separate yous. There's the one that experiences stuff and the one that remembers stuff. And this might sound like mumbo jumbo, but think about being at TeamSam boot camp.
Right.
There's the one who experiences being in the plank, you know.
Right.
Oh my God, this sucks. Stop. The one who has to pay for the hurting. But after that, there's one who gets to remember. And the guy who remembers, the you that remembers, he doesn't go, oh my God, that hurts. Maybe you do if you're really pussing out. But you have the choice to go, dude, I did that. And suddenly the remembering self is like, this is awesome. And that's what perseverance, I think, is really all about, is you have to sacrifice the person who experiences the shitty part so that you have a guy that can go, dude, look what I did. Right. Look how many pounds I lost. When I go hiking, I expect in the next 11 days I'm going to have some of the worst days of my life. Why do that? Oh, so that 6 months from now I can stand up shoulders above people and say, look what I went through, look what I attempted, look what I did. That's the remembering self gets all the rewards, and the experiencing self pays all of the paycheck. Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. And what that makes me think is not enough people have had that real feeling of pride, of success. And I don't mean like some cheap pride, like, oh, I'm proud of the fact that I'm half Indian and half this. Like, cultural pride is great and everything, but I'm talking about when you actually go out and you work your ass off and you achieve something. Most people don't really ever have that feeling of achieving something great, having a goal and doing it and feeling what it's like when you go, wow, I set out and I did this. I worked my ass off. I train a lot of nurses here. All right, nurses, I would say that our client base is probably like 50% nurses. It's so fun because many of these girls are in nursing school whenever they start with me, and watching them go through and pass their test and in each semester going on to the next thing until they eventually become a nurse. And it's like that feeling, that sense of pride.
Graduation.
Like, okay, that is a hard profession to get into. That is a very hard thing to become. But once they do, it's like finally something in their life that they set out to do, they persevered, they worked their ass off, and they did it. That is that real feeling of pride. And people do not set themselves up in life to find out what that actually feels like, because we look for little easy things that always make us feel good at the moment. These little fucking stupid things that make us feel good,
like
but not great.
Eating a donut makes you feel good for a second. The experiencing self is like, finally, yes, I get. And then the remembering self is like, I'm a piece of shit.
So if you persevere and you give up that little bit of short-term pain by not having the donut, later on you feel great. You're like, wow, I feel healthy. Now I actually feel a little bit leaner because I passed that donut. But if you didn't persevere, if you gave into that little short-term satisfaction, you felt good for a second eating the donut, and then you feel like shit 10 minutes later.
Now that doesn't mean you have to completely collapse if you have one mistake.
No,
but
it's just,
you have to be honest with yourself.
There's
Come on.
so many
who's the real
soft. There's so many soft motherfuckers out there who their day revolves around scrolling through social media and having nothing else going on in their life that's difficult. So then whenever the littlest thing comes along that stresses them out, it fucking ruins their day. Where the people that have done a lot of different things, that have learned how to deal with stress, that have a lot of stress every day, they tend to be happier because they've learned how to manage it, and it's not that bad in their head.
Can I tell you a funny story? This is awful for me to admit in public. All right, so while I was preparing for hiking, I knew I had to hike a lot of miles. So I went out one day and I hiked a lot of miles.
Right.
And I was pretty beat down and broken down when I came home. And I decided to pour myself an Epsom salt bath.
Right.
Sounds like a good idea, right? That relaxes your muscles and stuff. So I poured myself this Epsom salt bath, and when I lowered myself into it, it started stinging. Because my skin had little micro lacerations on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah! And then the next thought I thought was, dude, I'm literally thin-skinned. Literally.
Right.
I'm soft. I'm literally thin-skinned. My skin was... And you know what? The next time I went out and did big miles, didn't have that.
Exactly.
Because I adapted. I persevered.
That's what our bodies do. The human body, us trainers love to use like the car analogy. We like to compare our bodies to machines. But really, we're not like machines because there's one big thing that we have that machines don't, and that's the ability to adapt to stress and become stronger. That's how this whole process works, okay? To get your muscles, to build an ass, to make a muscle bigger, whether it's your biceps or it's your butt, you have to apply enough stress that muscle actually breaks down. You're actually tearing it apart. And then what happens is the body adapts and it rebuilds itself to try to be a little bit stronger and a little bit better each time. So over time of you constantly breaking the body down and it adapting, it does the same thing with endurance. If you start off and you've never done much endurance work, your lungs don't work very well, but over time you break it down at the cellular level and it's able to absorb more oxygen. Each time it rebuilds itself at the cellular level to adapt to more and more oxygen. So over time you're absorbing more of what you're bringing in. Same thing with your heart. You could have a weak heart, but through stressing it and making it beat faster, over time that cardiac tissue gets stronger. You're able to pump more blood in one beat. Same thing with your fat cells. You restrict the calories, and over time, it lets that extra energy out. Our bodies are constantly trying to adapt to stress. Same thing with the brain.
Imagine if you dropped a coffee cup, and every time you dropped it, it became a stronger coffee cup.
And that's where we're different from machines. With machines, they've got so much stress that they can take, and once they go past that, they're done. They can't rebuild themselves. Well, maybe we are getting to the point that they can rebuild themselves.
Yeah, maybe.
But I told you guys this was not going to be a long podcast. We've been going about 30 minutes now. I want to transition this over real quick to talk about the 8-week challenge, because all of that perseverance, all of that motivation, everything we just discussed is what it's going to take if you're going to win that 8-week challenge. But today is the last day to sign up for it. I've been getting notifications nonstop of people signing up, whether they're TeamSam members or whether they're not members. People have been signing up a ton today. The jackpot is now over $1,500. And 2 people will be splitting that. So right now, we will have 2 winners. Each one will take $750. But the more of you that sign up, the higher that jackpot goes. But today is the last day to sign up. So if you have not signed up yet, it's time to get on it. Go to our website, TeamSamPT.com. It's $119. And with that, you get 8 weeks from May 25th to July 18th of unlimited access to all of our boot camp, cardio, kickboxing, and HIIT workouts. $119, that's it. Now, if you're already a TeamSam member, it's just $29 to buy in. That's it. You pay $29. That helps grow the jackpot, which is already over $1,500. I bet by the end of tonight, we're a little closer to $2,000, which would be awesome. But here's the deal. I don't want you to do this if you're just going to half-ass stuff. If you're just thinking about it or you're not serious about doing it, if you're somebody that would rather go to Orange Theory or that would rather go to Planet Fitness and walk on a treadmill and never get any results, don't do this. What I love about the challenge, What I love about the challenge is coming in, and it's a lot of people that want to get shit done. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner. There's a lot of beginners in the challenge. It doesn't matter if you're out of shape. It doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds overweight. It doesn't matter if you're somebody that's been going to the gym and you're in great shape, just like Hoffa Jits, Dan Velton, and Ryan Ash.
He looked a little fat last time I saw him.
Well, he's not going to like that. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter what level that you're at for the challenge. I just want people that are going to take this serious. They're going to kick ass. They're going to have fun with it.